Here's a video clip of President George H.W. Bush giving a speech on his plans for the war on drugs. And then after that, we'll take a look at Joe Biden's response.
President George Bush addresses the nation with an outline of his national drug policy.
Good evening. This is the first time since taking the oath of office that I felt an issue was so important, so threatening, that it warranted talking directly with you, the American people. What then is our plan? Who's responsible? Let me tell you straight out. Everyone who uses drugs, everyone who sells drugs, and everyone who looks the other way. It will take a national strategy, one that reaches into every school, every workplace, involving every family. Our weapons in this strategy are the law and criminal justice system, our foreign policy, our treatment systems in our schools and drug prevention programs. So the basic weapons we need are the ones we already have. We are determined to enforce the law, to make our streets and neighborhoods safe. So to start, I'm proposing that we more than double federal assistance to state and local law enforcement. Americans have a right to safety in and around their homes. And we won't have safe neighborhoods unless we're tough on drug criminals, much tougher than we are now. Sometimes that means tougher penalties, but more often it just means punishment that is swift and certain. We've all heard stories about drug dealers who are caught and arrested again and again, but never punished. Well, here the rules have changed. If you sell drugs, you will be caught, and when you're caught, you will be prosecuted, and once you're convicted, you will do time. Caught, prosecuted, punished. And while illegal drug use is found in every community, nowhere is it worse than our public housing projects. You know, the poor have never had it easy in this world. But in the past, they weren't mugged on the way home from work by crack gangs, and their children didn't have to dodge bullets on the way to school. And that's why I'm targeting $50 million to fight crime in public housing projects, to help restore order and to kick out the dealers for good. We will help any government that wants our help. When requested, we will, for the first time, make available the appropriate resources of America's armed forces. We will intensify our efforts against drug smugglers on the high seas, in international airspace, and at our borders. We will stop the flow of chemicals from the United States used to process drugs. We will pursue and enforce international agreements to track drug money to the front men and financiers. And then we will handcuff these money launderers and jail them, just like any street dealer. And for the drug kingpins, the death penalty. This is the first time in the history of our country that we truly have a comprehensive strategy. Of course, victory will take hard work and time, but together we will win. Victory. Victory over drugs is our cause, a just cause. And with your help, we are going to win. Thank you, God bless you, and good night.
United States Senator Joseph Biden from Delaware presents the Democratic Party's response to the President's speech.
We speak with great concern about the drug problem in America today, but we fail to appreciate or address it for what it really is, the number one threat to our national security. It affects the readiness of our Army, the productivity of our workers, and the achievement of our students, and the very health and safety of our families. America is under attack, literally, under attack by an enemy who is well-financed, well-supplied, and well-armed, and fully capable of declaring total war against the nation and its people, as we've seen in Colombia. Here in America, the enemy is already ashore, And for the first time, we are fighting and losing a war on our own soil. Every president for the past 2 decades, Democrat and Republican alike, has declared war on drugs. And each of them has lost that war and lost it miserably. The trouble is that the president's proposals are not big enough to deal with the problem. His rhetoric isn't matched by the resources we need to get the job done. Quite frankly, the president's plan's not tough enough, bold enough, or imaginative enough to meet the crisis at hand. If you had a child in your family that was seriously ill, I doubt whether you'd call a family meeting to discuss what percentage of the family budget you were willing to spend to make him well. But the president says he wants to spend only $8 billion next year on a war we're already fighting and we're losing. The president says he wants to wage a war on drugs, but if that's true, what we need is another D-Day, not another Vietnam. First, we have to join together to ensure that drug dealers are punished swiftly, surely, and severely. And in line with what the president is calling for, we have to hold every drug user accountable. Because if there were no drug users, there would be no appetite for drugs and there'd be no market for them. I know it's hard to believe, but this very day, violent drug offenders will commit more than 100,000 crimes on this day alone. And the sad part is that we have no more police in the streets of our major cities than we had 10 years ago. And what the president proposes won't help much. What he proposes is no increase over what the Congress has already approved last year. In a nutshell, the president's plan doesn't include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, not enough prosecutors to convict them, not enough judges to sentence them, and not enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. That's why right now, 6 out of every 10 criminals who are arrested on drug charges have their cases dropped. That's why we think the president should triple the commitment that he's made tonight for police, prosecutors, and judges for our cities and our states. You know, drug education is the only vaccine we have against the drug abuse among our young. And can you imagine me sitting before you and saying, we're only going to vaccinate 50% of the children against polio or smallpox? We have to do more. We have to educate our children about the dangers of drugs. We have to start in kindergarten, because we know that last year, 1 out of every 4 high school students in America tried drugs. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
He would put somebody away to rot away in a cage for marijuana possession. What a ghoul. What a vampire. What a disgusting, immoral, evil son of a bitch Joe Biden is. What the fuck? I don't even smoke marijuana, and I know damn well that these people aren't criminals. They should be let out of prison immediately. This motherfucker wrote the drug bill. He's responsible. It's his fault that these people are rotting away in cages over this shit. He should be fucking disgusted with himself. He should be ashamed of himself, but he's not. Oh, he thinks he's just the bee's knees. All right, and she's put people away as a prosecutor in California. She's put plenty of people away for marijuana too. So she's just going along with what's politically popular. She doesn't support any of this shit. And when she's riding under Joe Biden on his ticket as the vice president of the United States, she's not going to pick up a plastic spoon. She's not going to lift a finger to do a goddamn thing about marijuana legalization. Oh, she can say, oh, I'm for this, I'm for that. It's like the abortion issue. It's a wedge issue that they throw up in the air every election cycle. Nobody does a goddamn thing to change abortion law in this country one way or the other. It has to go to the Supreme Court to get anywhere, and this is going to be the same goddamn thing. It's going to have to be a case about marijuana possession that's just so egregious, that's so just disgustingly obvious that, but of course the lower courts can't figure it out. These judges can't figure it out. The local politicians, the state politicians, and the federal politicians in Washington, D.C. can't figure it out. It has to go to the fucking Supreme Court, and there has to be a landmark decision. There has to be a decision that's just so abundantly clear that it sets precedent law for the rest of the country, for the rest of time, that everybody's going to get on the same page and figure the fuck out that these are not criminals, that you don't destroy lives. I mean, this is akin to murder. This is right next to murder, where you're basically murdering these people. You are committing a crime by putting these people in jail. You're the criminal. If you're the sheriff, if you're the judge, if you're the law enforcement agency, if you're the city council, if you're Washington, D.C., the Congress, the House, the Senate, the White House and the administration, the Department of Justice, if you're the motherfucker that's putting these people in jail, you're the criminal. Look in the mirror, motherfuckers. You're the criminals.